Hello, this is Dennis McDonald. I'll be your host today. This is A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. This is a UK phone. It's a British phone for a friend of ours, Misha, up in New York, Brooklyn, I believe. And we did a little video of this a little earlier, and we've kind of talked to the customer, and we've done a 360 on this telephone. This telephone, we were going to just put a line cord on it and fix up some of the connections and work on it a little bit. And since then, we thought about it and talked to the customer. We believe what the customer really wanted to do with this telephone, since this is a keypad here, it looks like it's touch tone, but it's actually rotary. The electronics that go with this keypad are right here. And it would, with all the electronics in it, you would think that this would be touch tone, but it's actually rotary. I've checked the chip number, the IC number here. It is a rotary dialing telephone in the touch tone type style. Anyway, I wanted to give our customer a little bit of an idea of what we're dealing with here. As you can see, the keypad here is missing the star and pound button. It's just not in the mix here, and they took it and didn't put it in. Anyway, these are all spring-loaded keys, and what they do is they go back here to this elaborate finger contacts, and when you push the button, you may or may not see that, these three finger contacts touch. Basically, to convert this phone over to a touch tone situation, we have to keep the original keypad. So that's number one. And it's a very stylish telephone. So we want to try to keep well, we have to keep everything the same. So we can't vary off of what it aesthetically looked like. So anyway, getting back to the keypad, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to figure out a way to, I don't want to get to a point of no return here with this. I could work on these fingers and isolate them from each other and solder wires to them and go over to a new board. So when I dial a certain number, that, you know, this key would be like 1 and 2, and then it would hit properly. But then I ruin the phone, see, and I can't put the phone back into its shape. I could take all of these screws out and remove this and take what we call momentary switches, and I'll show you a momentary switch. This is a momentary switch, and you just push it, and it makes a contact every time you push it. So that's a momentary switch. I would have to make a board for all 10 keys here, probably 12 keys, I guess, since we have pound and star. They would have to be all at the same level, and they'd have to be on a board, and this would have to be out of the mix. And when you pushed your button, which is already spring-loaded, that's good. It's spring-loaded, and then that would push the button. So that would be one thing that we could do. These electronics here that go along with the keypad that do all the deciphering of the pulse dialing would be removed. There'd be no need for that. We would have to keep in the mix here, though, at the network level. We'd have to take this switch here and keep it. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but when I push the switch down, you actually are I'm activating the phone. The phone is plugged in. Another problem that we have is with the receiver unit, the microphone right here in the handset, and I told you in the other video, I explained to you that right here is kind of like a Victrola. It's got a hollow space that travels up here and then goes right to this microphone. And so it's kind of like an old Victrola. The sound travels up through a hollow space and goes to the voice capsule. And this is the receiver capsule. Well, this would all have to be done away with. And the newer receiver capsule style that goes along with the board that we'd be installing is this size. So we already kind of have a problem here too. There is a bracket here that this cover screws onto. There's a screw that goes through this hole. So the newer style microphone is going to fit in here. Well, we've got a little slight problem, because what's going to happen is when we put the screw in the top of the bracket here, or the encasement for the handset, it's going to run right into this, where this one was more shallow. This receiver capsule was more shallow. So what I'm thinking, since the original, if you'll see this, when I pull this out, this receiver capsule holes in the bracket in the handset are actually off-centered. See, that ring there is where the capsule sits, and the holes for the receiver sound is actually offset. So this little tab here could be removed, and the capsule could be moved down. It could be moved down, and then it would probably fit in there, because this transmitter microphone would not be at this location any longer. What we would do is put a real microphone in it that goes along with the electronics, and this is the microphone. You're probably not going to see that very well, because it actually is covered in a black rubber type material. But we would end up, it looks like we can get this handset removed here. It looks like it comes apart. I think I can take this nylon washer or nylon piece out, and I believe there's probably a screw in there, and what we would do is we would insert this microphone down here at this level, so we don't have to do the old Victrola thing any longer. And with this microphone removed, that would give us the room to put this receiver down a little bit so that our bracket here could accept the screw. So it's a pretty long, drawn-out process. I'm kind of used to things like this, because we do redesign, and we do design circuits and make things and stuff like that. So it's going to be a lot of work, but I do believe that it's something that can be done. It's not going to be simple, but I do believe that we can get it and get it to a situation where the customer can use this phone. The real reason why we want to try to do all this is because this is kind of older style equipment. It's pulse dialing, and the customer has what you would see over here. He has a box that is a converter from pulse dialing to tone dialing. You can get these for about $40 on the internet, but he also has a DSL filter that we have to contend with. Well, these work somewhat, and they're not the greatest, these converters from pulse to tone. They do work, but they do steal line voltage, some Ren out of the voltage, out of the line, which is the amperage. And so it kind of, when you have an older phone like this that has the older type receiver and transmit capsules and the older style networks, it steals enough away from them that it causes them to have a low voltage, a lower receive and transmit voltage. And so getting rid of all that is probably the best thing. I'm going to shut the video down. We're coming up on 10 minutes and a little over, so I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. This is A1 Telephone. Thank you and goodbye.